let's just move on. But you meet Matlala again in March. On the 18th of March, you meet him at Zimbali Estate, also in Durban.
Indeed.
And then you go on to say at paragraph 77, initially believed we were meeting at his residence, but I later learned that Hlangwani Morgan Maumela owned the property. Mr. Maumela is currently the subject of an investigation by the Hawks and the SIU concerning the extraction of 2.3 billion from Tembisa Hospital.
Okay.
At the time, you say, of the visit to the you were unaware that it was actually belonged to Mr. Maumela. I received numerous queries from a journalist, Jeff Wicks, concerning my relationship with Maumela. I can confirm that I do not have any relationship with Maumela.
I meet Matlala because now we're engaged on this presidential thing and me and all that, but talk other things. One thing that took me aback in the meeting of Zimbali is when I saw his protection guys. And I began to say that looks like there are faces I know here. What nearly made me fall down is when he told me that some of those guys, 23 of them, has recruited them from Special Task Force of the Army. I said to myself, what is this? He has taken 23 of the Special Task Force of the Army to guard him.
They're even recruiting some of our best, highly trained officers.
Let's see, I'm giving you the story that scared me. Why I'm scared of this story is because I've spoken to Nhlanhla earlier on and gave me the information that we have lost 56 members of the Special Task Force of Police to the taxi industry. 56. Now, I'm told that to train one member of the Special Task Force is 1.1 million to be all-rounder. One. We have lost 56 to the taxi industry. Maybe there where I threaten you of knowing. But I've got two issues here. That I can't have such a production to the private security. That's the first fear. The second fear is that looks like we're increasing the capabilities of the private security versus the state. Because I don't care how many you send, there will be a serious battle between 56 guys in the taxi industry with the 20 guys you send of the Special Task Force. So it is something that must be,
Yes, General?
No.
It's something that must be corrected, Chair. Indeed, Masimula and me, we engage the taxi guys in KZN to say, bring back our men. They say, we pay them better. We pay them better. Talk to them. I say, guys, can we go back home? They say, Minister, we love the page. National Commission, we love the page, but we don't eat the page. Maybe that's one thing that we'll have to see what we do with our people that have high capabilities so that we keep them in a proper way. Maybe that's one case that as legislators will deal with. So I go back, Commissioner and I will go back and we discuss to say, Commissioner, we have a leeway here of dealing with this 56. We had 3 meetings with them. The last meeting was in HR where we were preparing to bring them back. Not all of them that came back, but a big chunk came back. The leeway was that special task guys both army and police, they have a special allowance. The special allowance is started same level, both of them at 6,000 some years ago. Soldiers have moved to quite a high, I don't know whether to say the figure where they've moved. They've moved there as a special allowance. And the police have stayed there at the bottom. So we agreed with the National Commission that move them up where they are, which is more than 20,000 from 6,000. And then agreed, and they said, Minister, with pleasure, if you're taking care of us, we'll go back home. By the time I left, so they were being processed, quite several of them, they were going back to the police. Well, I heard Minister Mkhunu said he has fixed the matters of the special forces. No, that process started when Gele was there. But it was going to start with special forces, goes with the NIU and the CATS. CATS are not too many, and then goes to the TROT, that few that are still there. Now, with that process, SC, comes information that 23 of the army now are in the payroll of a private guy called Matlala. Anyway, I began to see them at the funeral, Honorable Malema. I began to see them at the funeral where we were together. I said, I know these voices, but at that funeral, there were more guns and flowers.
Which funeral is that?
That was Mswazi. The guy called Mswazi Mnisi, who was a taxi guy. So there were more guns and flowers. And I said to them, what is everyone you were hitting?
It's Guns and Roses.
Maybe guns, but there were more guns. So because he was a big guy in the taxi industry, many of taxi guys, they came with helicopters in that funeral. They did not drive. Honorable Julius will remember there were many helicopters. I asked some of them, why did you use helicopters? They say no, because he was buried in his farm. You had to drive through the bush. So it was not any other thing, it was to make sure that they go there. So you could see that this private security is taking the capabilities of the state. So somebody had to do something with it. And Matlala is part of him increasing his own private capability. I don't know where that is arrested now. I don't know where those guys are that have left the special task force of the army. Remember, while they train similar, but when chips are really down, those are the guys that you bring in. And they're in the private hand.
Yeah, so General, what you describe is most disturbing, isn't it? It's high level crime, sophisticated, even buying off or inducing some of our top police and army, specially trained officers, to actually employ them on their side. And obviously they're involved in what is clearly a criminal enterprise. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't have that evidence that they're involved in what is criminal.
For what purpose would they want these people to be surrounded by people
Well, they call
armed?
them their protectors, but it's not only them here, SC, that could be blamed. The state also must take some form of responsibility. You can't train those people. I usually call them human machines and don't take care of them. I blame them for going and all that. I don't know what are they taught to do in the private arm, but the state will have to look at them. You train me highly, you keep me highly. Simple and straightforward.
So just to continue, what I think, what emerges from
Honorable Skosana. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted clarity from the witness. the cat Matlala, you said you met him in Belleville Hills in December last year, if I remember well.
Correct.
And then you say at the funeral, if I hear you well, hence I'm looking for a clarity from you. There were a lot of guns than flowers. And was Matlala there?
No, I didn't see him.
So the security company, you don't know what security company was there?
There were many taxi guys. These guys are split. Those taxi, they just take. I think they pay them well. But they are not taken by one taxi boss. They're taken by many. So a person that, and I'm sure you know the person that was being buried there.
Yeah, I know he is.
Yeah, I'm sure you know him very well. Sure you know him very well. I'm sure you also know a person that is at war with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know him too. So that is buried. So all these guys, they come because I guess everybody that is in the taxi industry knew in that particular day who was buried. I was there in the funeral. The Honorable Malema was there. Honorable Bheki Cele was there. And the three of us, we spoke at the funeral. We all spoke at the funeral. So it was a very high profile. I haven't checked, but I might suspect that Matlala could be there, but I don't have that information, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Chair.
You may proceed, SC.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. So, Minister, you seem to suggest that it's understandable that some of these initially or former police officers, military officers, highly trained, at 1.2 million rand a shot that taxpayers spend on training them, that it's understandable that they cross the floor and go and work for these syndicates because they get more pay. And that, are you saying that we should, to stop this, we should pay our officers more? Is this one of the ways in which we can stop this criminal activity? And why do you I think you also mentioned that that you went back to actually negotiate the return of some of these officers back, to integrate them back into the police force.
Mm-hmm. I would not agree with you.
A huge risk.
I would not agree with you that they work for syndicates. Especially the police task force are recruited by the taxi industry. Those are not syndicates. There might be a lot of criminality there, but to call the taxi industry syndicates, having not have that information, will be a problem. There is one thing I know with the taxi industry, is a lot of death and a lot of guns on it. I said I was a provincial MEC for transport. I spend a lot of time dealing with them. So I would sit with you here, SC, have a meeting, and then I say tomorrow we'll come back and finish the meeting, and your chair will be empty. Next day, your chair will be empty because you are gone forever. So that's what happens with that industry. Anybody who understands that industry is a brutal. There is a question they ask there. If you want to buy taxis, do you have a stick to protect the job? That's a gun. So if you are going to be in the taxi industry, you must have a gun too. That's how it goes. So I would not then say taxi industry are syndicates, but I wouldn't say that those recruited by those that are associated with syndicates like Matlala are not abused and used for that. But I would not sit here and say taxi industry guys are syndicates.
May we take Honorable Malem?
Minister, you'll agree that there is a difference between personal protectors and inkabi. Because when a person is employed to look after you as a high profile or a taxi person, that person does exactly that. And there are people who are hired to kill people. And that is the purpose of hiring inkabi for that purpose. Am I correct?
You are correct, Honorable Member, but it does happen that the very same protectors are used sometimes as inkabi and come back to their job. But there is a pool of people that are there just calling their price. There is that group of people. So that's why, and there are people that genuinely protect their principals. They call them their principals, even in taxi industry and all that. And I would not call those people syndicates.
Thank you. Yeah, perhaps I shouldn't generalize, and I certainly don't or didn't intend to portray the whole of the taxi industry. They are organized. We know here in Cape Town anyway, where I stay, there's two, Kuteta and Kutesa, and the two organizations. So they are organized. But obviously it would be irresponsible to say they're involved in organized crime. They are ever involved in a fierce battle, but they do also a great public service transporting our people. But it was more in the context of this picture that this narrative that comes from your evidence, that you meet this high-powered guy in December, a guy, just knows about this raid with one of your top, when you were minister, one of your top policemen, General Kumalo, wants you to do a favor, and then you meet him. You've read this article about him, and clearly, I think you had agreed it doesn't paint a nice picture about him. At the very least, raises suspicions.
I would agree.
And then you go to a funeral, and then you go to Zimbali, and then you didn't know that this is another, well, according to the media anyway, notorious person's house. So Minister, you either you unwittingly, unknowingly are drawn into this web of dark criminality, or you go in there with your eyes open. Which one is it?
Let me again try to put some light on it. Funeral has got nothing to do with Kat Matlala. So I didn't go to the funeral because of Kat Matlala and all that. It was Mr. Mnisi called Swazi, who died in hospital. So because I have worked with him in dealing with the problem of taxi industry. So as a person I know. So it's got nothing to do with Matlala at that particular time. Though I have learned SC and Honorable Malem, that his security has also looked after Mswaz of Kat Matlala, which puts a clash between Matlala and Joe. I'm sure we know Joe. And Joe, it comes from there, and they all come from Mpumalanga. They all come from Mpumalanga. That's why he knows them. He knows them very well. So, and there would be issue, and there would be stories about them. And even the Honorable Skosana would know these stories, but we still meet them. But you know the stories. You know the story of Ujo and Sibanyon, that everybody talks, but we still meet and we still talk. But I want to go to Zimbali, because the article says I went to, who's the guy, Maumela, yeah. He says I went to the house of Maumela, and then Maumela gave me the code. I don't know why would you dramatize having a code of entering Zimbali, because in Zimbali you enter with code. Now, why should it come as a secret weapon that you had a code? Anybody who goes to Zimbali enters through the code of the owner there. And then I go there to talk, and then I'm in this beautiful house, the beach house.
It looks like you, since your retirement, you're living it up.
Not necessarily.
You in high-end Beverly
I saw it
Zimbali.
once. No, Zimbali, I've been there several times, not because of... I've gone there to see many people. Minister Nkosazana sometimes stay there. I used to go there. The king has stayed there. I've gone to... So it's nothing wonderful about seeing Cat at Zimbali. I have been in Zimbali to see people. I've had conferences at Zimbali, one of the top hotels and all that. But the story I want to make, the journalist leaves the message to say, I went to see Cat at Zimbali, which is not a secret. It's not a secret. It's got nothing to secret. And then he writes something to say the house was Maumela. I didn't know. The house, Cat told me that he had 2 houses in Zimbabwe. So this is one of these houses. So I heard it from the journalist that the house was Maumela. But the journalist accuses me. He writes the message and he says, the journalist says to me, I don't want to talk to you. I still have those messages. I don't want to talk to me. Write down. I have told the journalist before that I don't write. The journalist is trapping me. He wants me to write. I told him that I don't write, but he says this time, I don't want to speak to you. I'll not write. I don't write. I phoned the journalist 10 times. I phoned the journalist 10 times. He's got 10 missed calls, which are dramatic with Matlala, but he doesn't write that I phoned him 10 times, not finding him, the journalist. And the journalist goes to point 3, raised 3 points. Point 3 says he is aware and the facts that I have benefited from Matlala. Who's this guy? Benefited from Maumela. I've stayed in his house. I was in his house. I've been driven around. I don't know Maumela. I go back, after I came back from the 10 calls, I go back to say, why do you say I know Maumela? Said, I didn't know that you don't know. So I retract that. But he has written the story. He has written the story, the journalist. Okay. Maybe Mkhwanazi is correct on that one, and I concur with that. Journalists, they develop some kind of narratives that they want them to be there. That journalist, he knows the journalist, what he has done. And ever since, he has not written the story, has not come back to me. But he didn't write the story. He sent an apology to me. He sent, the journalist sent an apology to me to say, he made a mistake to say I know Maumela. He meant that I know Matlala. And that journalist knows long time ago that I know Matlala. Why would he make that? He believed that I'm not going to answer and was going to write the story of me moving around with Maumela, creating narratives.
Thanks, Chair. General, you don't write or you can't write? You are just unable to construct a
Both.
paragraph. Both. Okay.
No. If you say I can't write, no, I can write, but I can't write the SMS message.
Okay. Thanks.
Julius, Honorable Julius only knows that Massimula can't write the English. So he
It
didn't know
looks
that.
like it's a general problem in the service. We need to look at it on how do we give support.
It's not a general problem, it's a problem of generals. Honorable Mali.
General, were not a teacher at some point.
Yes, I used to teach.
So you are a teacher by profession.
Yes,
So you used to write
at the blackboard.
at the chalkboard.
It was green that time. I used to write on the green. So there were no gadgets during my teaching.
You can only write with chalk, with a crayon.
Yeah, the chalk
on
and
the board.
the
Proceed,
dust and all
SC.
that. Yeah.
I have given you until 4. Yourself. Until 4.
Uninterrupted.
Yeah, uninterrupted.
General, can we just deal with some of the further allegations against you in relation to Mr. Matlala? Now, you say at paragraph 78.1 that you left government in June 2024. And of course, these days, like you already said at the outset here today, any travel and accommodation is at your own expense. But that, so when Mr. Matlala offered you the use of his penthouse when you were in Pretoria, you took up his offer.
Yes,
But that was when you were now a private citizen,
yes.
not in your when you were still
I've long left the government. I left the government June. This is January.
How many times did you visit his penthouse?
Twice.
Say twice. So at paragraph 78, you say that it is reported that Mr. Matlala sent a message to the staff of his penthouse on 27 January 2025. As you said yourself, everything seemed to happen in January, in which he stated the following: "Good day, can you do me a favor? There is a friend of mine who's also a business partner. He is former Minister of Police, Bheki Cele. When he's in Pretoria, can you please ask management to inform the staff at the front desk to grant him access to my penthouse?"
Well, I think I've spoken to that, especially the journalist did ask me, because this is from the journalist. The journalist did ask me of being a business partner. I said to the journalist, that is the easiest thing to check. You go and check the registration of the, you register with who? With intellectual property, blah, blah, to be business. Check that if there is any business registered in my name. And come and show me that. Don't ask that from me. And I said, I don't have any business that I run. Secondly, I'm not a friend to Matlala. I met Matlala in December. So he is my acquaintance, but a friend in December and already a friend in January, that would be taking it too far. We are not a friend. I know him, acquaintance. There are matters that we talk about. I don't know his house. He doesn't know my house. I don't know. I only know him. I guess he only knows me. So friends would know more than that per that person. So I deny. I don't agree that he's my friend. He's my acquaintance.
We're going to add the word friend now to the lexicon of the ad hoc committee.
Immediately.
Immediately.
No word will
Comrade,
be, no word,
associate, friend.
no word will beat immediately.
So, so General, just on the Medicare 24, contract, I think we covered much of it already, but that contract, or that, the tender was awarded on the 18th of June 2024. And that was shortly after your tenure as Minister of Police ended.
Correct.
But you had no role in the award, the award of the tender.
I know nothing, not only that, I know nothing about supply chain matters in the South African Police Service.
I mean, you don't sign off on the award. It's the National Commissioner who signs off on the
It's a
award.
national commission.
And that's after evaluation,
Yes.
adjudication,
and
the
all that,
award.
yes. Ministers don't sign on tenders. Yeah.
Then, just second, lastly, the allegation that you tried to push out Lieutenant General Khumalo in his evidence before the Matlala Commission, Lieutenant General Mkonazi alleged that you had attempted to persuade the Divisional Head of Crime Intelligence, Lieutenant General Khumalo, to resign from SAPS to protect Lieutenant General Khan from investigation and internal disciplinary processes. And these allegations are outlined in an article which is next as BC 11. BC 11 is on page 89 of the annexes. It's headed, Mkonazi Cele tried to push crime intelligence head out of SEP's Matlala Commission.
Interestingly, when Mary speaks of the Khumalo that didn't know anything was in the ORS, he meant that Khumalo, who happens to be Jablan Khumalo. This is a researcher. He can't differentiate between Tumsan Khumalo and Jablan Khumalo. So this is Jablan Khumalo, who is a member of the Special Task Force. As a brigadier, he came to head ORS after Mkhwanazi has been promoted. After Mkhwanazi has been the acting national commissioner, so he came here. So there were issues that were raised, SC, by the members of the Special Task Force to say things aren't going very well. They say they were not assessed, they were not getting training, or raising things. I took them to the National Commissioner, who happened to be Stole at that time, to say, Commissioner, for me it's a serious matter when this group of people complain so much. This is not the group of people that needs to complain, because when chiefs are down, those are the people that will revert back to them. So, but they were complaining about Khumalo and all that. I must say, in my stance with police, both as a national commissioner and the minister, I've buried one member of the Special Task Force. SC, by the way, that's one thing with the South African police. You bury every weekend. Those guys are dying. Police are dying. The sad thing, they die young. After establishing this SAPET Education Trust, it was after the funeral I attended at Kraaifontein as a national commissioner, where a police officer we're burying was 23. The wife standing on the open grave was 19. In her arms was a three months old. I said to the management, let's do something. What happens to these kids? Look, this guy is only the year. To accumulate anything in the South African police, at least you need to take 10 years. They die zero. It is on that score that the management also has agreed, SC, to give what we call a special death grant, so that there is something that the junior you are, actually it goes to the juniors, it doesn't go to generals, and it goes, because if you die first year, second year on the job, your family have just said something good is happening in this house, and boom, they don't know how to bury you. So we came there with that policy in the South Africa to say, junior you are help, so that there are funerals and all that they take care of. But the kids, it's that if you die on the line of duty, they must take you to school. That education trust must take you to school at least until the junior degree. That's what happened. I think there are close to 2,000 kids now that have been taken through. We wanted to make it independent, that not to be run by the police. Hence, its first chairperson of the trustees was Mkhatshwa. Mangaliso Mkhatshwa. We wanted eminent South Africans. Was Mangaliso Mkhatshwa, was Judge Mohoro, was Chaka Chaka. Those were the first person whom Pierre came and fired them. Okay. As she claimed that he started the subset, she didn't. She found it there. Now, I think I don't know much now, but I know Chair, that is a certain prominent business person in Jaka. I don't know if people they know Jaka. He's a business person in South Africa. So because we want it to be independent, and they run the thing. So it comes from there. It comes from there that we must be able to take care of ours, so that they are focused on their work going forward, SC. And I hope that everybody contributes. I saw the Mkwana's social media inviting people to the Gulf match, so that they can fundraise for that. And he has been good on that one.
General, you didn't answer this aspect arose.
SC, let me take Honorable Malem.
No, Minister wanted to tell us about businessmen, Jaka or something, and then you left him in relation to this fund.
He's a chair of the subset now. Yeah, he's a chair of the education trust of this, the man that educates offense of the police. He's on the Congress.
Thank you. So perhaps let me just remind you what your response was. The allegation by Lieutenant General Konazi that you tried to get Lieutenant General Kumalo to resign in order to protect Lieutenant General Khan.
Let me respond to that.
Yeah, you said that the allegation is without merit. The Premier of Gauteng approached me to see if I could recommend someone from SAPS for a key high-level position in Gauteng related to safety and security. I considered Lieutenant General Kumalo because he had worked well together and I was well aware of his capabilities. I approached Lieutenant General Kunazi to inquire if he had any difficulties with me approaching Lieutenant General Kumalo concerning this position. The insinuation that I sought to approach Lieutenant General Kumalo to protect Lieutenant General Khan from investigation is unwarranted. At the time of my discussion, which took place after I was no longer Minister of Police, I was unaware of the internal processes within SAPS and that Lieutenant General Khan was undergoing disciplinary processes. Moreover, there is nothing sinister or unlawful about me inquiring whether Lieutenant General Khumalo would be interested in a position in the Gauteng government. You confirm that's what your response?
General Mkhwanazi is a good cop, but it doesn't mean he doesn't have faults.
Yeah.
There is no human being that is. Some of them serious faults, but I guess it will be genuine faults rather than criminality and all that. Khumalo, well, maybe the statement there is not full of what General Mkhwana said. He said he was disappointed on Minister Cele and never spoke to him thereafter, if you finish the statement that he said. Panyaza, the premier, having created Amapanya Panya, I'm sure they were condemned yesterday. But I know for sure that those Mapanya Panya were given certificate by the Minister of Justice. I know for sure. But he is also, him and Premier of KZN are also MECs of safety in their provinces, both of them. Now, Panyaza says, Cele, I met him in Pretoria. In Apache, not in place of cat. No. So he says, I want you to work with me to coordinate all security agencies in Gauteng to fight crime. I agree with that because there are 4 provinces that gives us sleepless night when it comes to crime in South Africa. 3 full KZN, Western Cape, Gauteng, and half Eastern Cape. They give us nightmares. So if anybody says, I'm prepared to put more resources in my province, Gauteng, that will help us a lot to deal with it. So he approaches me, but he says, I say to him, look, Premier, it will be good to work with you, but I'm not an operative. I'm not. Though I was a national commissioner, people saying this national commissioner who is a civil. I'm not a civilian, by the way, I'm a soldier. I'm trained fully. Heavily so I'm not a civilian. Don't talk to me as a civilian. I'm a soldier. So I know the mentality of the armed forces, and I've been all my life. By the way, I've been a commissar, and I can give you the prescription and the job of the commissar. I've been a commissar in the camps. All where I've gone, I've been I've never been a commander, but I've been a commissar all my life. So I then said to Premier, I'm not a commander. We'll have to get a person that will command and coordinate all the forces.
Who was your commander?
When
you were commissar, who was your commander?
Was JZ. All my life, Julius, I was commanded by Commander JZ. In exile and inside the country, that's my commander. Commander Zuma. So now he says, invite a person that will do the job. I say, I know there is a Khumalo. He's a major general, not a lieutenant general. He's a major general. He was at Tugela district at the time. And I knew that he was at Tugela because I worked with him very closely dealing with the taxi industry, together with Mandla Kaba and all those dealing with the taxi. There were high rate of murder around Lady Smith. So I knew him. We worked with him all the time. So with the respect that I have for Mkhwanazi, I don't phone Khumalo. I phoned Mkhwanazi to speak to Khumalo. And then, good, he said you speak to. Khumalo says he said, I'll speak to him. He loves the police. He's not going to leave the police and all that. By the way, it's not a crime. If you come to Western Cape province, there are so many police officers that have been taken from the South African police and are working for municipality. Recruited. So somebody used the English, I think was one journalist, that I lured Khumalo to Gauteng. Those that understand Zulu, to lu is not ukheha. If I lure you, ukukholelo party. Those that know English, they can explain. But if somebody said I've lured you, ukukholelo party, so I'm pulling you out of your way so that I can mess you up. That's the word, Lou. I did not. I recruited him. I approached him. He says, I love the badge. I'll stay here. That's fine. And then I went to Lusofe, the premier. So Mkhwanazi did not come back to me. I hear when he makes the presentation that he was very angry with me and disappointed. He never spoke to me. As we speak, it was somewhere last year or early this year. But it's not true that Mkhwanazi never spoke to me thereafter. The last time Mkhwanazi sent the message was June this year. So it's not true that he never spoke to me. He sent me the message about the matter that happened in Newcastle of, I think, Rafferty, the farmers that were killed there. So I phoned and we spoke. I asked what happened to that case. He sent me the message to say those people are arrested. So it's not true that he never spoke to me. We did speak.
Can we just round off, General?
So I'm rounding off by saying, Khumalo has been interviewed. The case, Mkhwanazi said, I did not like Khumalo. I'm not in business of liking. I'm in business of working with you. Khumalo, I would not have approached a person that I don't like. I said I work with Khumalo with the taxi and all that. He's a capable commander that would have come. That's why he was approached. If he feels I don't like, as Mkhwanazi feels I don't like him, so they can give me the measurements of liking. So how high, how deep it goes, the liking. But I don't work with you because I like or I don't like you. I work with you because you're capable of doing your job. Thereafter, I approached another officer who is a brigadier. I spoke to commissioner, to say national commissioner, because he runs the projects of Western Cape and the project of Mangoes, to say, can we request, he's a brigadier, and the brigadier says, I love the police, I'm not going to leave the police. There was nothing sinister about recruiting people. And remember, we are still recruiting these people to government. We are not even taking them to the private industry. They are recruiting to the other level of government. So I don't know what was a big deal about it.
So just lastly, General, Lieutenant General Bonazi also alleged that you directly linked to suspicious money transfer from Matlala into a third-party bank. Sorry. Is it related to this? Can we just received a message which I can't read now or understand. Can we take the break and come back and then just allow me a few minutes to clarify it when we return?
We're taking a 40
Sorry,
minutes.
General, it's
A 40 minutes break. Yeah. Yeah. Is there too much for you? Because I want to check if you are ready, because when we come back here, I'm taking questions from you. So I wanted to give you time to rehearse your questions. You are ready? I'm reducing from 40. If you are ready, I'm reducing from 40 to 15 minutes. I'm giving you a break immediately. 15 minutes. Can we break immediately?